So I thought I'd be able to tell you all a cool, very ancient story about love. And this story, there's a lot of things that go on. You see, not only am I a fraligator, but I've been in these waters for a very long time. And this is a story about two lovers that didn't know were lovers until they first kissed. So I was just a little totodile at this time, and I was still trying to grow. And my grandpa ends up telling me about an old legend. So the legend goes that there's this beautiful lady that gets on a boat, and while she's on this boat, she just sets sail. Well, on this boat, she would write down stories of her own about people that she had ran into, people that she knew growing up with her family, and everything else. She had just a bunch of stories that she liked to just write down. And as she sails sail, she comes across a couple of islands. Once they come out to this island, she could hear monsters. And she could hear the screams of people sometimes. And so she would get scared. So she would get off of that island and go set sail somewhere else. She hit another island. And she could hear the screams and monster noises. Not even animal noises, just monster noises. And it would creep her out. And so she would get up on the boat and she would go again, somewhere else. And then she comes across another island. She says, please don't let it be like this. So she goes. Sure enough, she could hear the monsters again. So she said that she would not go out onto any of the islands no more. And on her boat, she had enough to be able to grow some food. She was lucky enough to have planters that gave off fruits and some veggies. And she had them all up on the sides. And so she would have all that while she was driving around wherever she could go. And after experiencing all this, she decided that she wasn't going to do that no more. Stopping at islands knowing that there's monsters and what could happen. So she decides to set sail and just stay in the middle of the ocean. She turns off her engine and just floats. And as she's just floating, she starts writing down more of her own little memories, things that she can remember. Starts writing down all of these little memories that she had. And sometimes she would get a little piece of the paper. She would just rip it, just a little piece, and drop it in the ocean. Like as she was reading the story to the animals in the water. And she would grab another piece and just tear off a little edge and throw it into the water. And she would read it out loud. And that's how my grandpa actually heard about this. So once he hears the water, the note hits the water. And she starts reading. it starts to echo right off of that piece of paper straight into the ocean. And the ocean animals start to relax and start to calm down, just slowly. More of it just falling down from the top of the water straight into it. My grandpa said that it was a very calm and peaceful feeling to know they were hearing that as it echoed through the ambient temperatures of all the different types of water. And while she's setting sail out there, she gets more and more depressed being out there alone. She gets so sad because she always remembered about the love stories and everything else. And when she had to run away from home because how crazy it was getting, she ended up living out in the ocean. Sometimes she thought about going back, but she knew it was pretty bad. And so she decided that she would try to find another place, but all the islands had monsters. And she was afraid to go back to the coast unless she had somebody that would be able to protect her. So she decided to keep going. And she stayed out there for at least about a week before she started getting frustrated. She would start writing angry stuff into her diary, and she would still rip off that little piece, throw it in the water. And she would start reading it. And then my grandpa says he remembers he could change. He felt a change in his attitude as soon as she got mad. He would feel it so angry. So then him and the other animals would come up, and they would see sailors, and boom, they go flipping the boats away, smacking the boats. They'd see surfers, and then the sharks would get them, just grab their leg, pull them down, and let them go. And nobody knew why all this was going on. But she starts going out there still angry. There it goes. Again. Throw it into the water and then read it. And then the animals get angry again. Go after the surfers again. And she doesn't know what's going on. She's just expressing herself out there. And so during that time, she decides to start singing. She just wakes up one morning and just says, I'm going to sing. And so she gets a piece of paper and starts writing. Grabs it, tears off the edge, and starts singing. Turns out it was a love song. Now, I don't remember the old tune, but it sounded like something that Lana Del Rey would sing, just ambient. And it would just shower down, and you could see it look like glitter just dropping from that note, just dancing in the water coming down. And it's slowly coming down, slowly coming down. And as soon as it touched an animal, it looked like it turned into a holographic, just starts swimming around, shining. It starts floating different. And once it starts floating different, just that look alone made other animals kind of look at it differently. You could see a new sparkle in their eyes. Something like that. You could see it. And so they keep going. And they try to they get attracted to where it's at. That thing is a very potent love sprinkle that just drops down like that. It just falls all over. Almost like this. And when all that happens, sorry about that. Because I'm from the Beach Pong clan. It's actually like that, but you know. So, while all that sprinkling down and the love is happening, there's this twister that comes down from the top of the water that shoots down this way. And it comes down to the bottom. Some of that sprinkle touches it. And that whirlwind ends up shooting out sideways instead of touching down. And then it comes all the way down to this other side. And it pops out into a crevice of rocks. A big old bundle. And as it hits this, it echoes out the sound. And the sound starts to penetrate upwards into another part of the ocean, where this guy is going through almost something very similar. So he's in his boat, and he's passing by, and he could hear that song playing in his ear while he's driving by. He's driving by hearing her song, and he's looking around. Where is it coming from? He thought it was the stories of the mermaids. Turns out it wasn't no mermaid. The mermaids were a different type of breed. They were animal at night and human by day. Some of them human at night and animal by day. This princess is over there, floating. They all the animals don't understand how the thing just twists and shot that way. They don't understand. So when they see it, they follow it a little bit. And the guy is out there just floating, trying to look for the sounds. And he starts writing in his diary. His call log, sorry. Starts writing down these stories. All these little love stories. And then he even starts writing his own songs. And then he starts thinking about a lot of things. He says, God, I want to remember every single one of my exes. Just so that way I could have a blessing. I'll show you that I was grateful for what I've had in my life. In the most area where I was the most dangerous. So he starts getting down on pen and paper and he starts writing down stuff. Going over it and over it and over it. The best to his knowledge. He would read it. Erase some part. Start again. And he kept going on and on and on. Try to write about what he felt. Try to write why he was angry, where he messed up, everything. Try writing it all down. And then sometimes he would say, "Oh, this is stupid. I think I'm just hearing things from the ocean. Maybe it's not even a song." So he grabs a piece of the paper and he throws it into the water. It hits the water. Nothing weird happens. It just floats down to the bottom. He starts sitting there in his boat and starts thinking again. He can't get it out of his mind now, so he gets a pen and paper again. Starts writing. This time a little bit slower. Then he rips it out, throws it in the water. And then he does it again. Rips it out and throws it in the water. And then he looks at the ocean on the last piece of paper that comes falling down. He says, "Ocean, can you do me a favor? Can you pass those notes to who it belongs to?" And then all you hear in the water is one of the whales go. It looks back. He says, "Thank you." He didn't know if it was that. He was just losing his mind at this point. I gotta go.